All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Startup State of Mind podcast. I'm super excited here to be talking to Sanghee Lee today. Sanghee is the GM of Global AI Business Strategy at a company called Sendbird. Sendbird initially was a chat as a service platform used by developers to create chat-based products. You've probably used their chat services in apps, like dating apps or maybe even an e-commerce app, and you just didn't realize it. Even then, Sendbird was already a massive unicorn with customers like Hyundai, Match Group, and Virgin Mobile. But over the past year or so, Sendbird has shifted directions, right, and transformed a bit into an omnichannel AI agent platform for enterprise businesses, which we'll go over with our discussion with Sanghee in a bit. But before leading their AI efforts, Sanghee managed Sendbird's expansion across the APAC region. And even before that, he was Sendbird's first employee. So Sanghee has seen Sendbird grow from basically a tiny startup into this massive unicorn that's scaled pretty much across the globe. I've known Sanghee and the folks at Sendbird for a couple years now. At my previous company, Atma, we were a happy customer of their platform. And when I started this podcast, I knew that I wanted to speak to Sanghee because of so he's someone at the forefront of AI technology, and he's the perfect person to help us understand what this means, right, in terms of businesses, right, or how AI affects these businesses. So yeah, hi Sanghee, thanks so much for being here today. How are you?
Oh yeah, I'm doing fine. And Chris, thank you for the invitation and thank you for this exciting opportunity of virtually meet so many audiences and friends out there in Indonesia. And do you actually target some audiences outside of Indonesia from this the podcast too?
Yes, so we target anyone basically in Southeast Asia, right?
Okay.
Investors, operators, founders, people who have a general affinity to startups. That's our uh, audience.
Yeah, that's even more exciting. And other than just, what Chris mentioned as our customer, but also we have supported some world's largest brands such as Rakuten, but also some of the regional brands such as Traveloka and Carousel, has been our signature APAC customer. So I think, some of the chatting and, messaging functionality inside, you've been using Sendbird that is operating in the backend as our the major chat system of those businesses.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, thanks, Sanghee. I'll just jump straight into it. Okay. I have to start at the beginning, right? Can you share what the founding days of Sendberg were like, right? This is something that's super interesting to me, right? As someone who's passionate about startups and especially those that have found product market fit and have scaled up. How did you end up joining them, right? And were there any stories that you could share about the initial starting up story of Sendberg?
Oh yeah. So when Sendbird was started, I actually was the outside of Sendbird, and I joined this company from the introduction of my friends. So my friends was actually, going to join this Sendbird. Then before making that final decision, he wanted to explore some, chemistry with the founders. So he spent like 3 months with the founding members. Then he found out, oh, okay, this isn't working for me. So, but because of some relationship engagement he already made, let me introduce my friends on behalf of myself. So I thought that at the time, what the f, are you throwing me under a bus? Then indeed, actually, after spending some time with the founders, I found great chemistry and also synergy with the founding members. So I decided to join this company after the, a first of all founder as the first employee of this company. Then one of the reason I decided to join Sendbird, other than many other options, including starting my own startup at the time, was because of the some two reason. One is, this founder is a serial entrepreneur. So instead of joining some first founding some entrepreneur, it definitely give me some more security as well as reliability. And secondly, these companies from the get-go, they actually target to go to the global market in Silicon Valley. So that was actually, a very long gone thirst of my career because even though I started my career as the consultant at McKinsey and Company, which is known as one of the most, a globalized consulting company in the world. But because of the where I belongs to, like from my possession, from my some status as a one of the Korean McKinsey members, it feels like I have some glass ceiling, which like hinder me from growing, as a global leader or global talent. So I always have had some thirst of growing inside the global market. So that, like a pursuant of a global market from the get-go, that, even though it was very, like some, funny and unrealistic, dream that could be seen at the beginning, but that was one of the, like a reason I joined the Sendbird. Even though, like from the starting and inception, we actually started all of our business from the Korea.
Got it. No, thanks for sharing that. I think it does, early stage startups is not for everyone, right? I think it is for a certain type of person, maybe at the stage of their life, right? But there's no better, in my opinion, no better learning opportunity and experience than either founding your own startup or being the first few employees. Cool. Can you walk us through a little bit about? I know most folks who are listening to this probably might have known Sendbird as kind of like this chat platform, right? Chat as a service. But it seems like over the past year or so, you've kind of shifted directions, right, into becoming this omni-channel AI agent, customer support platform, or just AI agent platform. What prompted this strategic shift, right? How did AI change Sendbird, and how could you just explain that for our viewers here?
Yeah. So in order to explain and respond to your question, I think I need to, augment your question by starting from then where Sendbird came from, because we started our business as a chat SDK and API company, and the reason we started was because we also made a major pivot even at the beginning of Sendbird, because we started our business from the B2C, business. Sendbird's inception was actually building the mom's social media service. And then we developed our homegrown chat system in order to boost the, community engagement and community connection. Then after building that, homegrown chat system, we realized that there's no viable option other than just a Firebase as the very like a low level infrastructure type of the, some SDK. Then we might be actually see some better business opportunity by making some pivot to this, chat SDK service, and we can actually appeal to some developer as a buyer market. Then also we can lean into the API economy, where you can find a lot of, like API driven businesses such as Stripe for payment, and also, some SMS business which is driven by Twilio. So we think that, like the market was lacking some real-time instant messaging businesses. That's why Sendbird has started our business from the chat, API business. Then we realized that the major use case of Sendbird was actually user to user business, user to user chat. What does it mean is, for instance, if there's a gaming industry, and if you have a game title, and actually the chat was used to promote the conversation between the gamer to gamer, just like a guild chatting. Then instantly we realized that there's a tremendous value by promoting some business and user communication, such as customer support. That's why Sendbird invented some Sendbird specific, like some support software, such as, CS agent ticketing system, which is a Sendbird desk. And we realized that other than just a two-way communication, actually there's a tremendous opportunity of marketing promotional one-way communication. And also we realized that there's a humongous budget from the marketing team they have spent for some, like a business engagement platform. That's why Sendbird developed the SBM, Sendbird Business Messaging. So each moment of our evolution and product expansion, we have some strong business cases, and also customer wanting that functionality that has been our, rationale of making that product expansion. Then after the, like introduction of Gen AI and also related LMM, we see some enormous traffic, captured into our website. So we studied why. When people actually search chat LMM, chat API, people intended for some chat GPT's API, but they end up actually searching Sendbird and has visited our website. So that actually intrigued a very interesting some business opportunity. Why? When you search Chat API and SDK, which is a primary top search keyword of Sendbird, actually worldwide there's only 10,000 search query from the Google. So that has been very niche market for Sendbird. But somehow, from and at that niche market, Sendbird has grown into the unicorn, like $1 billion business, opportunity. So what if we can target the much larger, market opportunity such as, LMM based chatbot? That's why, where Sendbird get an idea of making some major pivot to AI agent business. Sendbird has a big belief that great chatbot experience or great chat agent experience has no different than great chat experience. And Sendbird has possessed every, some success factor that can make Sendbird as a great AI agent platform, such as, some UI and client type of the chat experience, and also robust infrastructure that can support the massive traffic generated from enterprise businesses, and also all of the admin and tooling that is a necessity for making this LMM into some of the enterprise solution. So many like an investor and many businesses actually has seen our major pivot as a DApp, because they think that Sendbird, what you are trying to do is a very generic wrapper around the LMM model. But as of today, at 2025, what is the business which is not the wrapper around the, like some LMM business model? Many business model has been spun out from, like a LMM, foundation model as a concept of a wrapper, but they try to, extrapolate the value of LMM by positioning as some of the application layer. So Sendbird has found that opportunity, and Sendbird believe that we have already possessed a great success factor that they can make Sendbird as a great AI agent platform.
Got it. Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, you guys have been building this chat platform for the past 10 years, right? And it's, it is at the core of everything. It's chat, right? Um, I think you've alluded to answer this question in this previous answer. But what do you think is the unique perspective specifically that Sendbird brings to the table when providing AI agents, right, to businesses? And what differentiates you from many other players who have entered this space or are thinking about entering into this space?
Mm, yeah. So I have witnesses some major the AI agent. Actually, AI agent business is only just like some new business initiative from the traditional some contact center as a service businesses such as a Salesforce or some other platform like ServiceNow. But Sendbird think that AI agent itself should be some independent standalone like a business unit that can maximize the deflection of the human like some inquiry, so they can actually minimize any handoff to the actual human agent, which will be used by the contact center as a service businesses. So because of that positioning, actually they can make the major differences. Currently many contact center as a service, such as Salesforce, they actually try to sell, agentic platform or AI agent function as a some of the value add or add-on of their major primary services. They can hinder customer to fully, realize the value of the function, and also they can ask the customer tremendous costing. They can actually ask the customer to buy everything as a package instead of seeing some early, like some traction by, fast adoption of the AI agent product. And beyond that, actually, Sendbird Tech is more advanced because our inception of business as a developer platform, we allow enterprise to address all of the major concern when they think about the adopting some external vendor to implement the AI agent solution. It starts from hallucination and safeguard monitoring, and also it comes from like building this AI agent from the staging environment, and also deploy this into the production level. So Sendbird has all of the major feature that can be considered from the enterprise company when they develop everything from the scratch in-house, and we actually convey that consideration into the very sophisticated and granular level of our platform and tooling. Actually, that makes Sendbird as the only option for enterprise company to implement the AI agent solution. Then other than that, currently many of the AI agents, even without the major Salesforce or IBM like the platform, but some small to medium market size platform, they actually only provide the web support and
Hmm.
very limited mobile native experience. But because of the Sendbird's, a decade of commitment to provide the native mobile SDK and also other platform support, such as a platform API, so the enterprise company can use their existing mobile application. So we can provide the very seamless experience that can be integrated into the mobile, web, or any other major platform. So that is, our major unique selling point and distinction, distinctive differentiator.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think not a lot of people realize what it actually takes to serve enterprise businesses, right? Sometimes you could be building for years, right, and not have enough to serve these like unique needs, right, or these like kind of wide ranging needs. So I think it's awesome to hear that Sendbird is able to do it with this new business, and you've been putting in the work for the last decade to be able to do it. So yeah, wanted to talk a little bit more about you, right, Sanghee? I know the company has changed, right, and I'm sure your role has changed, like thousands of times at the company, right? And now you have this title, right, GM of Global AI Business Strategy. It's a quite a mouthful, but could you just share what this person actually does, right? What does the GM of Global AI Business Strategy actually do at Sendbird?
Yeah. Last year, throughout the 2024, so ever since the introduction of LMM model around October in 2023, Sendbird has introduced the two pilot program as a part of the new business. So one branch was AI chatbot as a task force initiative. The other one was Sendbird business messaging. So my major primary responsibility was doing some litmus test and verifying the product market fit, and also qualifying some of the early hypotheses we have at the moment, so making this initiative whether or not it can become the company wide big bang for the next year. So that was my primary responsibility. So by recruiting some teams of a product manager, so we have allocated actually three product manager into these businesses, and also we have assigned the major most talented engineer, even including our ML, machine learning leader to this project. So we have scouted the most talented individual to this task force team, and we have a lead this, as a building the product from the scratch, and also making some, virtual, some cycle of getting the customer feedback and also ingesting this feedback into our product group and selling this some product into the actual product customer out there market. So we have operated under this standard operation scheme. So that was my role throughout the last year. Then after we make that pivot from the as a AI chatbot business from our some scout team type of task force into the company wide major initiative, then I also has pivoted my role as governing some major enterprise deal throughout the world, and making sure that ensure that a successful landing of those enterprise deal throughout the world into the Sendbird sales pipeline.
Got it. Uh, I think I want to take a step back, right? I think there may be a lot of people listening to this who don't understand fully, right, about maybe AI's place in business today, or maybe they're a skeptic, right? Could you maybe share like a specific use case where one of your businesses use Sendbird's AI agents to achieve a certain business goal, and could you share like a tangible result in productivity or efficiency that they've actually been able to achieve?
Oh yeah. So over the past 2 years and first 1.5 years, many major consumer brand and enterprise company had heavily invested on the experimentation of major use case of this AI agent. So some of the use case was very vertical specific, or some of the use case has been more horizontal, but more focused on the specific department level, such as customer support. Then after realizing that, regardless of their direction of whether they build their own, some small language model or their own, custom or fine-tuned model, whenever, you know, the major players such as Anthropic or OpenAI, whenever they introduce their newly updated model, like whichever investment the major enterprise company has made from their own in-house system will be wiped out. And there's a new concept such as computer use and ncp, and also like some new, like some different model of thinking like a chain of thought like a human. So because of that, many company has realized that instead of thinking about building their own language model, so let's shift it towards the think about more application layer, and how can we actually focus on the more use case. We can use this AI agent or LMM as a part of the actual application for their workforces. That's where company has focused on the more business impact. Then a company has realized that there's some of the prerequisite of making this AI agent, because in order to make this like an AI agent useful, actually there's a lot of things required, such as like a digitalizing their customer information from some of the non digital way or on premise to the more like a cloud based data, and also more some real time like a database. And also other than that, seamless integration of other SaaS tools, so they can actually make some perfect orchestration of some different data sources and actual promoting some actual work and work related action by leveraging this AI technology. And other than that, they need to implement some systematical knowledge base, whether it's their own homegrown system or like using some knowledge management system such as Zendesk or Salesforce. So many company has realized that, okay, we need to actually make sure ensure the readiness of this like a prerequisite and early work before diving into the actual use case and like application like related consideration for AI agent. Then one of the most proven and early access point turns out to be the customer service, because many enterprise company employ minimum of 200 to thousands of contact center operator and contact center some agent, even through some domestic market or by relying on some offshore operator. So that has made a big businesses. Then currently, many businesses has witnessed some challenges after the COVID. Because of the COVID and adoption of people's digital channel, actually many customer inquiry channel has been diversified towards some of the social media or email and phone call or even text. So because of the fragmentation of this customer support channel, that is making very difficult for enterprise company to handle some customer inquiry in productive way. And secondly, it's always, like it is very deficient of having very skillful customer support agent. They can actually handle very complex customer inquiry. And also job market is very, like iterative. So whenever people, whenever a company train some agent to become a manager level, then when this company leave the company, then the company need to actually backfill this moment. So because of the major challenges, the enterprise company started to think about some adoption of AI agent, so they can deflect some FAQ, they can deflect some common inquiry, so they can actually result in the 60 to 70% of containment of like some major inquiry they can just easily handled by AI agent. They can actually make some human agent to only process very complex and meaningful business type of the inquiry. They can generate more business opportunity to the enterprise company. That's where the rationale of enterprise company really think about adoption of AI agent, and that is a major shift because in the year of early 2024, many enterprise companies stay at the experimentation, and they were afraid of doing something as the early, starter. They were actually like
Mm,
staring each other and walking the other, like a looking over other enterprise company like over the shoulder. Then finally, some there are so many companies started this as a production. That's where actually accelerate the adoption of AI agent into the actual business cases.
mm. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that, right? Um, uh, Everyone, I think most people see the potential, right? Um, but I think uh, there must be challenges as well, right, for an AI agent or an AI kind of system to be deployed into production and actually be facing actual customers, right? This could like scare a lot of people, right? Especially in these enterprise businesses. Um, do you have any kind of common misconceptions about what it actually takes to implement these AI solutions, or maybe what are the biggest challenges for this widespread adoption? It could be technical, it could be maybe like more on the business side. Could you share a little bit about that?
Major challenges of adopting AI agent is actually very similar to just when the enterprise company adopted the other like a previous technology wave as well as some of the cloud technology from the on-premise era.
Hmm.
It always comes from field of, yeah, it always comes from whether it can become threat or it can become an opportunity.
Hmm.
There's a no single like a some only threat and only opportunity. There's a some of the blended mixture of some tension from this excites us versus this make like a fear to us. Then, depending on how the model and also each, like a related relevant tooling and entire, ecosystem related, value chain, how fast it is developed, and also how other your industry peer is driving the way. Actually, sometimes, this excitement can, trump the fear coming from the newer technology. They can, like they can drive the, ultimately the faster adoption of this technology. Then when enterprise company or other big conglomerates decided to adopt this technology, there's always a build versus buy. And that is a very interesting, like a thing happen because many of our engineering and product leader, they prefer to building something from the in-house because it is a like a very sexy for their resume and also very appealing for internalizing this thing. And because of the some of the fear of coming from data privacy and hallucination, because of this fear drive or more gravitation towards the building everything from the in-house, then many people realize that okay, but the thing is the bandwidth of how technology is evolving and our ability to making some necessary investment towards this initiative, I think there's some disparity and gap, and this gap will keep becoming bigger and bigger. So because of this realization, actually some different part of the organization may think about like building something in-house in the different way. So customer support organization can be a good example because most of the customer support and service organization report to either a COO and CFO, and they actually value the efficiency and cost of some initiative over their possession of some technology from whether in-house from or buying from the vendor. Then after seeing that, okay, we engineering or product organization have already made some substantial investment towards this like LMM or Gen AI related initiative in the past 2 years. And actually we have recruited more than hundreds of data science and engineer and making some hundred thousands of investment, but our actual CS team or marketing team has not seen any like some production readily available to use for our internal use cases. So how come and when will we get this like some ready? So this kind of curiosity and interesting dynamics between some major stakeholders and decision maker across the CEO or CFO and CTO and even like a CEO is putting a more pressure and pressure to making just whatever option available to make this business, impact to come, true. And, regardless of whether it's an in-house option or vendor option, I think that is expediting over making a decision. And that is actually, giving us the more advantage because we are making 100% of our investment towards this AI agent initiative. Unlike any other company, like exploring this opportunity as a, some subset of their core businesses. So that is, where a very interesting, dynamics is happening, and why more and more companies are considering collaborating and partner with external vendor like Sendbird.
Mm, yeah, I think like most things in the world, it's all comes down to FOMO, right? And if you see your competitors doing it, like you're just gonna jump at it. Um, cool. I wanna talk about like the different markets across um, Southeast Asia, Asia, maybe even like Europe and the US. You have exposure to pretty much every market in the world, right? At Sendbird. Um, what key differences have you observed between like the Asian markets or the Western markets when it comes to AI adoption, right? Maybe in Asia, which countries are ahead, right? Which countries, maybe like South Korea, where you guys are from, are they particularly ahead? And if they are, like, why are they ahead? And why do they have a different mentality, right? That's something I'm really keen to learn about.
Hmm. I think the major differences between the Asia market as a whole versus the US market. US market is, more focusing on the proven use cases, and also they
Mm,
are seeking more proven vendor. So
mm,
it turns out to be, like a more, winner takes all type of the, approach, because there's always, like some category and industry, like some thought leadership shaper, such as a Salesforce. Whenever, when Salesforce introduced the agent forces into the market, not only just, like making this product available and major, product debit, they also make a huge investment towards the, like a media buying and also marketing promotion as well. So that has created the major notion of this agentic platform as the major use cases for the market, and that has driven the adoption of major enterprise company thinking about, okay, this is the major use cases for the agentic platform, as well as some of the agency model. But contrary, Southeast Asia market as well as Asia is more seeking some creative and also for various use cases other than just customer service, but they are seeking some marketing use cases and also sales use cases. And also other than that, for some insurance company, what about having some underwriting or some like default credit managing AI agents? So Asia is trying to become more creative and try to set the pace of what will be their use cases, and they want to like pace the market. And some key interesting, differences between some regional block of across the APAC or Asia is, some Southeast Asia market, especially Indonesia. Actually, they try to set the leadership position. Because of the DNA, Southeast Asia and Indonesia has become our regional leader of driving innovation and also unicorn businesses. I think that DNA has become the primary reason of why some of the major platform like Jendit or even like some big company like Telcom, they are seeking very active partnership, partnered with the major cloud service providers such as Microsoft, and they want to become the first adopter and first to like a market leader of implementing this AI agent. Contrary, some of the East Asia, like that regional market, such as Korea or Japan, they are always very cautious. They don't want to make a mistake, and they don't want to become some of the person who take the spearheader, but they want to become the second fast follower. So that is how actually Japan and Korea or China has become like a fast and successful in the semiconductor business, because they saw that opportunity from the US market, Then Japan or Toshiba has become the like a second fast follower and become the world's largest player. Then Korea Samsung has captured that opportunity from Japan, and we became the fast follower. So that actually the way of business has been implanted to our way of adopting AI agent business. So I know that like a way of doing a business has been already always here, and this year Korea conglomerates such as Samsung's retail brand, they are super active. So now our pipeline and business related opportunity has been created, so many from the Korean market. So it's a very interesting always to see this, like some trend. And we are actually, try to leverage this kind of way of doing a business in the APAC market. And we are trying to, like strategize our go-to-market strategy based on this insight and our key takeaway.
Got it. Yeah, that's exciting to see. More and more countries adopt AI technologies. I think one question I have is maybe it's for our audience, right? Who are maybe like founders of other companies, or maybe leaders of more traditional companies. If I'm that person and I have this intention or willingness to start adopting AI technologies, how should I be thinking about it, right? Is there a framework that you have? How can I even begin to uh, think about how to implement AI technologies in my business?
First, understanding the mainstream business and related the funding environment, understanding that is very important. Recently, I have one of my founder who is doing some fundraising stages, and he confessed me the difficulties of raising a fund from the major, like a U.S. venture capital, because every venture capitalist or venture capital house these days, they are heavily invest on only investing in AI related businesses. So over 90% or 96% of venture capitalists, they are only like looking for some AI first related businesses. So you need to aware that what are some of the mainstream, some trend, and what are some of the specific, some startup opportunity the venture capital and the funding market is currently looking for. And secondly, also you need to understand your customer, the way how they see, like a AI adoption, and what are some of the hurdle and blocker hinder them from adopting the AI business. For instance, when we introduce our AI agent platform to our customer, we always, like some interface, face some difficulties and challenges of our customer because they are not ready to implement our AI chatbot because their internal database as well as knowledge base has not been fully ready yet. Then this kind of like a readiness of some knowledge base and internal orchestration of their internal data and internal system, that can be another interesting some business opportunity for some startup entrepreneur. So understanding over your customer and what blocking them from adopting this, like a full benefit of AI agent or AI related businesses, I think the real customer voice and real pain point should be your starting point of how starting your businesses. And third, you need to raise the DNA and culture of adopting, AI or LMM, type of the, opportunity, because in Sendbird, when we first started our Gen AI or AI agent related initiative, the first thing we try to do is actually promoting the adoption of an AI related tool to our internal employee. So now more than over 20 people, actually our Sendbird engineer or solution architect, they has become our internal evangelist over their AI related toolkit. They even, like in each every week, they are actually developed and introduced AI related tooling system for our own internal system and employees. And even when they meet our customer, whenever there's some of the very unique some requests from our customer, and from the same day, actually those evangelists has created some very interesting specific custom feature as well as custom demo for those customer. So that has expedite and also accelerate our introduction of a new AI feature out there to the market. So promoting and encouraging your own culture of even embracing the AI as a center of how you operate the company. I think that culture must be like cultivated as the one of the major consideration.
Got it. That's super good advice, Sangi. Last question here. Um, if you were to look into the future, right? Let's say 20 years from now, what does that future look like according to Sendbird? I know it's super. This is like a question that's like far out there, right? But I think it's important to kind of understand how you think about the future and Sendbird, and maybe this can help kind of other founders or other business leaders think about the future of their own business. Is it like this crazy place where my AI agent is talking to your AI agent, or do you just think that there's going to be more and more business use cases for AI agents, and we're just going to start to see like more steady adoption, or do you think it's just going to change the world completely?
Yeah. So the future Sendbird has a vision from the inception of our business 10 years ago is always the major shift towards the digital communication instead of some offline or analog communication. That has been already realized since the like a COVID situation, because before COVID, people always like prefer to just meet other folks and friends in offline, and they wanted to build a community in the offline in more like a traditional way. Then after the prevalence of COVID, actually because of the like some external factor and also the change of how people prefer the way of socializing with other people, actually the digital communication has been outpaced the like offline communication. So our the way of viewing that communication has been already fulfilled as a reality. Then the next is actually agent to agent economy, which means that more and more agent will be able to communicate with the other agent through the other toolings or like other external some API. So that has been already happening, because when you look at some of the transaction that can happen in the New York Stock Exchange market, actually more than 70% of a transaction happen through the machine learning or some AI related algorithm. So that wouldn't be only limited to that kind of only single use cases, or like think about the recent introduction of MCP, which is a model context protocol, which is guided you some common protocol where some other system or API can communicate to other API in the more unified way. So that is going to become the dominant trend in the future. Then in the future, behind the scene, behind the actual human interaction, actually major multi-agent or agentic this agency model will enable some autonomous conversation between the agent and agent, and many of the transaction and actual user experience will be guided and also promoted by this to agent communication. So that is going to become the future of this AI agent. And Sendbird is like a strong position, and our commitment as well as investment is because of like we are developer friendly platform. So we already have heavily invested in this agent to agent economy by introducing many of like a toolings and API first functionality. So we are super excited about this future of agent to agent economy that is already has become some part of reality, and we are becoming a spearheader and forefront of these changes in the market.
Yeah, super exciting to hear it. Thanks again, Sanghee, for taking the time to speak with me. If you guys want to get in touch with either me or Sanghee, just reach out to him on LinkedIn if that's okay. I'm sure he'll be able to kind of help you with any of your AI related inquiries.
Yeah.
But all the best, Sanghee, building up Sendbird. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, and before I finish this webinar, I want to thank all of the listeners and audience, because next month in May, I will become my 10-year work anniversary at Sendbird. And when I joined this, like a company, I first anticipated spending only like a 4 to 5 years.
Mm,
And I thought that, actually 4 to 5 years, I would make it to, like some exit or liquidate this opportunity.
mm,
But I was wrong. Like doing a startup, it's like a marathon, and
mm.
marathon is like running a 26 miles, which is a 42 kilometer.
Yeah.
And wow, and I'm actually, like looking another 10 years at Sendbird
Mm,
because like I still work at like like when I was the inception point of Sendbird, and I'm still like a drilling many of upcoming opportunities. So when you are if you are the like-minded founders or doing some startup businesses with some 5 or 6 years experience, don't get tired because this like this adventure and your challenges will not become just 5 or 6 year challenges, or but it is going to become decades or minimum of decades of challenges you are like addressing, like running a full like marathon races.
yeah. I'd like to add on to that. I think like yeah, I think the at the end of the day, you're gonna remember the journey, right? It's gonna be, you're gonna look fondly back at all the things that you did during that journey versus the actual achievement of the goal, right? So yeah, if you guys are out there building a startup, just keep at it, and